you later. Congratulations, Erica Slezak.
On March 17, Erica Slezak celebrated her 40th anniversary as Victoria Lord Davidson on One Life to Live.
Here's to you, Erica.
Mr. Buchanan.
Please, Christine, lie back. You've just had a serious accident.
What happened?
Don't you remember anything?
I heard you praying for me. Or was I dreaming? Mrs. Buchanan, did I hear you say you're my mother?
Here's what to do when you don't find the rainbows in this time. Here's where you go when it looks like the rain won't end. Don't cry. I'll give you tomorrow. Let me be the one to share it with. And each day that follows, 'cause we only have one life to live.
One Life to Live.
Good is the truth if it destroys the people you love.
Mr. Buchanan, was I dreaming?
No, you're still very groggy from the anesthetic, that's all. Now, what do you remember about the accident?
But you didn't answer my question. I heard you praying for me.
Yes, we're all worried about
But you
you.
said you were... I'm your daughter. Mrs.
Christine, this
Buchanan, tell me, is that what you said?
Yes.
Why?
Why? Because it's the truth. Because I am your mother.
That's impossible. My mother's name was Emily, and she died when I was a baby.
Christine, this is going to be very confusing for you. Your father and I had a relationship many, many years ago. And then we were separated. I didn't even know that you existed.
I don't understand.
I know you don't.
Christine, when did she regain consciousness?
Just now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Helen, Greg, would you have Dr. Chorney come over to room 104 immediately, please? Yeah, thank you. I know the doctor's going to examine her, so if you wouldn't mind just stepping out for a second, that'd be great.
No, you can't leave now. I have to talk to her.
We have to do one thing at a time. First things first, okay?
Christine, I promise you I will explain everything to you, but you must see the doctor now. I'll be right outside.
No, I have to know.
Please, please, do me a favor. Now, just lay down for a second and be still. Okay, and breathe deep for me. Oh, that's great. That is really great. You're doing fine.
Has everybody gone crazy around here, or is it just me? Nurse,
Uh-huh.
I want to talk to my father. Now.
Leo, Christine is awake. She's talking.
Is she all right? What did she say? I have to see her.
Yes, she's going to be just fine. The doctor is examining her right now, and Brenda's going to call you as soon as he's finished.
Oh, Vicky, I thought I knew pain. But the thought of losing her.
Leo Cromwell, you were praying when I came in here, weren't you?
Indeed I was. Even a heathen like me prays at a time like this.
Well, whatever you said, it worked. Now that she's awake, there's every reason to believe she'll make a complete recovery.
I have to go and see her now.
Leo, wait a minute, please, before you see Christine. You have to know that, I told her that I'm a mother.
You what?
I'm sorry. I did not mean to do it. It just happened.
You've done exactly what I want you not to do. Have you any idea what a shot like that could do to her?
Look, I'm sorry. I thought she was unconscious. Apparently, she heard me praying for the recovery of my daughter. I didn't know she could hear me.
I was going to break it to her gently after she was stronger. Now you've jeopardized everything.
For God's sake, Leo, I thought that she was dying. She asked me to explain what I said to her, what she thought she heard to me when she came to, and I tried to put her off, but I didn't want to lie to her.
Oh, you mean like I have done to her all these years? You might as well go ahead and say it.
Oh, Leo, no one could have foreseen what happened to you today. The point is that she's alive and she's going to be well. That's what's important, isn't it?
You don't understand my daughter. She trusts me. She believes in the things I say. You don't know what her reaction is going to be when she suddenly realizes that her father has lied to her for 25 years.
Mr. Cromwell, your daughter's asking for you, sir.
Leo, have a little faith in Christine. She's strong enough to face the truth. You have to be strong enough to tell her.
Viki? Renee! Oh, gosh, it's so nice to see you here. Oh, darling. How's Christine doing? Is she still unconscious?
No, she came to about an hour ago. The doctors are amazed. She's doing so incredibly well.
Oh, Lordy, thank heavens for that. Well, now, darling, maybe you're going to get another chance to tell her who you really are.
I just did it. And I made the biggest mistake in my life.
Why?
Because of the way I handled it. I mean, the poor child was just coming to, and she overheard me praying for the recovery of my daughter.
Darling, I think that would be angel music to her ears.
No, she's very confused now, and she probably thinks I'm a lunatic, and who can blame her? And then Brenda walked in the middle as I was trying to explain it to her, so I had to leave the poor child lying there in shock. It was just all wrong. It was not at all the way I wanted to tell her.
Well, darling, sometimes it's hard to understand, but life has an uncanny way of forcing us to reveal our secrets.
But that's not fair to Christine, is it? I mean, she grew up believing she had this perfect mother, and now look what she's got. She's got me with my feet of clay.
Oh, Viki, darling, I've seen lots of girls who've had fantasies about the kind of mother they wish they'd had, and they would have been grateful to have a real mother, problems or no, with real love, especially someone like you.
Yeah, but I'm not sure Christine's going to feel that way.
Darling, you should be shouting hallelujah from the rooftops. Don't you realize that you and your daughter have a second chance to find one another, and as soon as she understands this, she's going to be the happiest girl in the world.
I know a little bump on the head couldn't stop my girl. You're a Cromwell through and through.
Am I? I'm really confused right now, and it's got nothing to do with this bump on my head.
Darling, you need to rest.
I need the truth. Viki Buchanan doesn't strike me as a crazy person, Dad, but she was saying some pretty bizarre things in here.
Sweetheart, this is not the
My
time.
mother's dead, right?
Darling, you're just going to get yourself all upset.
She died when I was a baby, didn't she?
Darling, please, you need to sleep.
Viki Buchanan can't possibly be my mother, can she?
I think I'm going to go and get the doctor and get him to
Don't
read
keep
the...
changing the subject on me! Tell me that Mr. Buchanan is mistaken and I'll sleep just fine.
I'm just thinking of you. Can't we let this go till tomorrow?
I'm going to be having these questions hanging all over my head. I need to know the truth now, Dad.
All right. Mrs. Buchanan and I have been caught in a terrible deceit.
Are you telling me?
I'm telling you that Viki Buchanan is your real mother.
How could you lie to me about something as important as my own mother?
It was because I loved you that I shaded the truth. Life can be very cruel, Christine. That's why I vowed to keep the real truth about your mother from you, at least until you were grown up.
So you thought that deceiving me was a sign of affection? Oh, please.
What did I do? I created a wonderful image of a mother, someone that you could look up to and have some trust and faith and love for, so that when you talked to other little girls in school and they talked about their mothers, you wouldn't feel left out. And As it comes down to it, it wasn't such a big lie.
What are you talking about?
Viki Buchanan. She's a warm, loving person. She's about as close as you could get to that real mother.
Excuse me, but warm, loving mothers do not abandon their babies.
Darling, you weren't abandoned. When I told you that Mother was taken away from you, I wasn't lying, only it wasn't death that separated us.
I don't want to hear any more of your lies tonight, Dad.
Well, you can believe this or not, but this is the truth. Your mother was kidnapped while she was still pregnant with you.
Kidnapped by who?
By her own father.
This.
Well, it's true. She was kidnapped. Now, I went to the police when it happened, but they were no help in finding her. I called everyone. I searched everywhere to no avail. Finally, when I had given up hope, I returned to my room one day and found a distinguished-looking gentleman waiting for me.
Who was he?
Well, I didn't know it at the time, but it was Victor Lord, Vicky's father. And he told me in so many words, now you can keep your daughter on one condition, that you forget that her mother ever existed.
And you agreed?
Well, no, of course not. I demanded to know what had happened to her. But all he would tell me was that she was all right and that she was alive. And that if I ever tried to find her, they would harm you.
So you let him get away?
But I had to. Darling, he was a powerful, dangerous man. I couldn't take any risks that they would come and try and harm you.
So you just let him never see the woman that you loved again?
No, of course not. I tried to find out who the man was. I went to the police again. But it didn't come to anything. I always came up against a dead end.
All right. You can stop now. You expect me to believe that someone as prominent as Victoria Buchanan could just up and disappear without a trace?
Well, darling, it's more complicated than that.
Didn't you once tell me that only lies are complicated?
You haven't heard the whole story.
I've heard enough. Stories like this, they just come too easily to you. Dad, why are you doing this to me? How do you ever expect me to trust you again?
Oh, Lordy, the coffee around here is not so bad, but boy, howdy, the sandwiches leave something to be desired. Renee, you don't have to sit here with me, you know. Good heavens, you're getting married soon. You must have a million things to do. 2 million. That's why I'm sitting here with you. It seemed like the logical solution. Besides, I have something I want you to hear.
Oh. Viki, Red Garrettson just called from headquarters.
Really? Did they find the woman who attacked Christine?
No, but they have a lead on somebody else, and he thinks that you and the family should know about this.
Who?
Ursula Blackwell.
Lordy, that's the woman who held Tina captive in the lighthouse. Yes, it sure is, and she swore she'd take revenge on Tina. But she's a murderer. Don't tell me she's back in Landview.
All right, take it easy, Viki, because if the police are correct, she's a long way from here by now.
Well, what did Rafe say?
Well, evidently, the Canadian police have spotted a woman that fits her description.
She's in Canada?
Well, apparently they picked her up for shoplifting someplace, and that's what they're doing right now. They're fingerprinting her so they can get a positive ID. But listen, I gotta go to work, and he just wanted you to be aware of this, okay?
Thank you, hon. Thank you, Brenda. Oh, thank heavens that's solved and Tina's safe. Whew. Oh, darling, you know, before Brenda came in, there was something I wanted to tell you about the wedding.
Yeah.
I sent invitations to all those old friends of Ace's, you know, the ones I told you about. Oh, in Texas? Yes. And Zeke Bingham, Red Hackett, and Dusty King are all flying in, especially for the wedding. Oh, you're kidding. That's wonderful. I just hope they show up wearing their Stetsons. Otherwise, I might not recognize them. That's wonderful. Does Asa know? Nope. Total surprise. That'll be wonderful. And Clint and Bo are going to be delighted, too. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's drink a toast. To the two Mrs. Buchanans and the new Mrs. Roberts. Cheers to that.
Now I want to tell you a story. Do you remember the story you told me about the beautiful lady with the long black hair who fell in love with the struggling archaeologist? And together they were going to change the world. And they were going to make it a better place for their new little girl. But the lady died before the little girl ever got to know her.
Well, you don't need stories anymore. Your real mother is right outside that door, and she loves you very much.
My real mother is dead.
Please.
I'm sorry, Dad, but you can't take her memory away from me now.
Darling, I never thought that in a million years we would find her again. I had to tell you she was dead. Otherwise, you would have spent your whole life looking for her, longing for her.
Fine! I'm sorry, but that childhood memory is stronger than death, Victoria Buchanan.
Darling, you're not strong enough to deal with this now.
Don't you give me your phony sympathy. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have a father or a mother, so just get out of here!
Viki, darling, now, come on, pay attention. Sorry. Because the priest at St. John's told us we have to really be straight about this because we might not get any kind of rehearsal. I'm listening. All right, now, let's see. The two nervous grooms will be right here, and Tina will be right next to them, and then her matron of honor, Madame, will be right here. You know, the more I look at this plan, the crazier I think we all are. Have you ever seen this many people at an altar all at one time? I hope the photographer has a lot of film. We're going to keep him pretty busy. You know, Viki, all my life I've wanted to be part of a great, big, happy family. Next time you should be more careful what you wish for, because now you're stuck with us.
Never, ever tell me how to handle my daughter again.
What happened?
I thought Christine was going to die today, and now God, in his infinite irony, has spared her life only to take her love from me. You have destroyed our happiness. She never wants to speak to me again.
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. Let me go and talk to her. I think I understand how she feels.
She doesn't want to see you either.
What did she say?
Viki, you are so concerned with the truth. Now it is you that have to face it. Tonight, we both lost a daughter forever.
Your mother is not dead after all. She's alive and she's here.
She's a total stranger.
No, she's not. She's Viki Buchanan. And from the first time you asked me about her, I've been telling you she's a wonderful person.
Terrific liar, that's for sure.
Oh, come on. Why don't you just give her a chance?
And do what? Turn to her with open arms. Hi, Mom. Let's go shopping today, okay? I saw this perfectly divine mother and daughter outfit. One for you and one
Christine.
for... I can't do it, Wade. I don't care how great Viki Buchanan is. I do not want her to be my mother.
Oh, Bo, when she heard me say that I was her mother, the look on her face, the shock, the disbelief.
But Viki, if Christine is not ready to accept you at this time, that's natural, isn't it?
She wants absolutely nothing to do with me.
For now. But in time...
No, I don't think there's enough time to make up for 25 years. You know, I'm afraid I have to face the likelihood of living without my daughter's love forever.
Here's what you do when you don't find the rainbows in this time. Here's where you go when it looks like the rain won't end. Don't cry. I'll give you tomorrow. Let me be the one to share it with. And each day that follows, 'cause we only have one life to live.
One Life to Live, brought to you by
I
Colgate
shouldn't
Charter
have said
Control.
anything to her. I mean, I know that now. I just couldn't help myself then. I thought she was slipping away from me, and I was so afraid I would never, ever have another chance.
Well, Viki, you have to look at this from Christine's point of view. You know, you caught her off guard at what might be the most vulnerable moment in her whole life. She needs time to take it all in.
Do you really think the time will help?
Well, if my experience means anything, yes, I do.
You're talking about Drew.
Yes. When he first came here, he hated me. Just because I was alive and Jesse was dead. He couldn't love me as his father without feeling like he was betraying the man who raised him. And the closer I tried to get to him, the more he'd push me away. So it took time and patience. And now he's finally taken those first steps towards really being my son.
Well, everything you say makes a lot of sense. The problem is that Christine is lying there, all alone in a hospital room, trying desperately to deal with everything she's learned.
Well, do you want to go back there to her? Viki, go. Be with her.
What if she doesn't want to see me?
Well, she might, and then again, she might not. But if you are there for her, without really pressuring her, I know eventually she's going to come around.
I would so like to believe that.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
I thought it was only me that gave other people good advice.
Oh, come on. Every now and then, even Viki Buchanan can get a little help from somebody else, can't she?
Thank you, Bo. Thank you so much. I'm going to take your advice, and I'm going to pray that you're right.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Now, go on. Daughter's waiting for you.
Drew! Oh, excuse me. I hope I'm not interrupting. I needed to speak to Bo for a minute.
He's all yours, honey.
Hey, Drew. What's up?
I've got something really important to tell you.
It wasn't too long ago that Marilyn went through a similar thing with her mother. She grew up believing all her father's stories, too, and it turned out that her mother was Lee Halpern.
I know, you told me all that. I don't see what it's got to do with me, Wade.
What it's got to do with you is that Mary Lynn would not have picked Lee as a mother either. Not at all. But after all the stereotypes and fantasies were through, they really came to love each other.
I don't want to love Viki Buchanan. She doesn't mean anything to me.
Listen, I've been trying to tell you that Mary Lynn felt the same way. I think you just need to give it a little bit of a chance. What's that going to hurt?
May I come in?
Hi, Viki. I guess that's up to Christine.
When you're finished, I was hoping to have a few words with you alone, Christine.
Yeah, you two need some time together.
Thank you, Wade.
Sure, I'll be back. Why don't you just give it a chance? Happy Thanksgiving, Viki.
You too. I think that we all have a great deal to be thankful for today.
It's true.
Christine, I know how you must feel.
I don't think you do.
Yes, I do. I do. You feel angry and confused, and you feel betrayed. All because of me. Well, that's why I'm here. I would like to answer any questions you have. And I'd like to help you deal with this. And maybe together we can face the fact that you have a new mother in your life. Whether you believe it or not, until very recently, I was as much in the dark about all of this as you are.
What do you mean?
Christine, have you ever heard of multiple personality disorders?
Yeah.
You have? Well, that's good. That's going to make this a little easier. I've suffered from this disorder since I was a teenager. The first split I had was when I was in high school. Another personality emerged. A girl who called herself Nicole Smith. And she ran away to New York City. To this day, I don't know what caused the first split. In fact, I only recently learned that it happened as early as it did in my life. But what I have learned is this. Nikki Smith was in New York, cast adrift, alone. She was with some hippies. She worked in a bar, and one day she met a graduate student from NYU, your father. Leo and Nikki were madly in love, and so they moved in together. It was the 60s. They made up the rules as they went along, and she got pregnant, and so they decided to get married, but before they could, something happened that changed their plans.
You ran away.
No. No. I did not run away. Nicky Smith was kidnapped by my father, Victor Lord. He had somehow managed to find out where he was, and he came to bring me home. Now, I'm quite sure that Nicky didn't want to go. But my father had a very powerful hold on a lot of people around him, and so with the help of a family friend and his chauffeur, he managed to force Nicky into his car, and they started the ride home.
My father tried to tell me all that. I didn't believe him.
You can believe him. It's true. It's all true. Anyway, Nicky never made it home. Somewhere along the road, you decided it was time to be born. So my father told the chauffeur to pull the car over to the side of the road, and there, in the back of his limousine, two rather extraordinary things occurred simultaneously. You came into the world, and Nicky Smith turned back into Viki Lord.
I don't understand this.
You're not alone. I've spent the most part of the last 20 years trying to get a grasp on Nicky Smith, and how she has wreaked havoc in my life.
Mrs. Buchanan?
I'm all right. I'm okay. Anyway, the rest followed rather quickly. My father took my baby away from me, and he gave you back to your father on the condition that Leo never, ever, ever try and find Nicky Smith again. Of course, he couldn't have, even if he had tried, because he had no way of knowing Nicky Smith did not exist any longer. She had turned back into Viki Lord. All he could do at that point was face the fact that he had a child to raise. And he did it the best that he knew how.
But you... how could you forget about your own daughter?
I didn't. I didn't, not voluntarily anyway. My father was determined that I forget all about that past year, and so he hired a hypnotist who erased all my memories of Nicky and of my baby. And in place of those, he gave me fake memories. So you see, from that time until just about 2 months ago, I had absolutely no idea that you even existed. Once I found out, I did everything in my power to try and find you. But it really wasn't until your father came to town that all the pieces began to fall into place. Christine, I realize that this sounds like some sort of a bizarre, fanatical, crazy idea, but it's not. It's not a fabrication, it's all true. I can't soften the blow for you. All I can do is tell you that your father and I never, ever meant to hurt you. We were caught up in a situation that was so complex, so deliberately obscured. Well, I've said all I can say about that. I do hope you will find it in your heart to forgive your father and me. Christine, I can't expect you to forget and accept me just like that. But I do ask that you just try and understand.
I'm trying. From what I understand, you and my dad were caught up in something that you barely understood yourselves. But that was 25 years ago. You know? And all that time, he should have told me the truth.
Yeah. I wish he'd told me the truth as well. But in fairness to him, he really thought that he was doing the right thing for all of us.
By lying to me?
Oh, Christine. Someday, my darling, you will have children of your own. And you will realize then that there is nothing. There is nothing on God's earth that you won't do to protect them from harm.
It wasn't the truth that hurt me. It was all the lies.
Look, your father made mistakes. We all agreed on that. But he had an awesome responsibility of having to raise you alone.
He wouldn't have to if he would have told us both the truth.
Oh, yes, he would have. He could never have got Nikki Smith back. He had no way of knowing that she didn't exist anymore. That at that point, she and I were the same person. All he could do at that point was shield you from unnecessary pain.
But I didn't ask to be shielded from my own mother.
He knows that now, Christine. But those mistakes that he made 25 years ago were made from love, and I know that on some level, you know that. I envy you, honey, I really do. My father was overprotective as well. But his motives were less than benevolent. Your father is not a tyrant. He loves you. He loves you so much. And I think he would do anything on this earth to make it up to you.
I know that. I want to forgive him. I want to believe him. I don't know. I don't know. So many things are jumbled up inside me.
I know they are. You have to give yourself time to sort out your feelings and get your equilibrium back.
Equilibrium. It's a much better word. Viki, I feel so off balanced. I mean, half of me wants to forgive my father, and the other half just won't let me. Not yet.
I think that Leo would be the first person to understand that. And for my part, I do hope that you will accept me when you're ready.
I can accept that you're my mother. But as for some kind of closeness,
No, that's all right. That's all right. I'm going to take my own advice now. And I'm going to give it some time, too. For starters, I think you need to be alone. You need to have time to sort through everything you've just found out. So I'm going to be on my way.
Viki, you must be uncertain about all this stuff too, huh?
Yeah.
What's it feel like to all of a sudden find yourself with a 25-year-old daughter on your hands?
That's real easy. I feel blessed.
However...
Leo.
I hope you don't mind. Your secretary said it'd be all right if I waited in here.
No, I'm very glad you did. I have wonderful news. I've just seen Christine, and we had a very nice long talk.
Oh, did you?
Yes, we did. Don't assume the worst. I explained to her as best as I could the circumstances under which she was born. And I think that I got her to understand it. I also believe that with time, she's going to forgive you and hopefully accept me.
Well, that is good news, isn't it? You know, you were right, Viki. It was past time that Christine knew the truth. It's funny, once you begin to wipe away the lies, more truth starts to emerge.
More truth?
Yes, I got a call this morning from an old friend of ours. Well, of Nikki Smith's and mine. She was a regular at the White Lion Tavern. Linda Donovan.
Sorry, the name means nothing to me.
Well, I was telling her something of what has been happening, and it occurred to me that Nikki used to confide things in Linda, things that she would never dream of telling me.
Oh, I see. You think this Linda Donovan may know something about the circumstances that created Nikki in the first place?
It's quite possible. But if you don't want to pursue it...
Oh, no, I do. Very much so. When can I talk to her?
She's a very private person. She lives in the country, but she said that she was planning to be in New York today, and if we could get there somehow this afternoon...
This afternoon?
Well...
Well, no, look, I'm tempted, Leo, but I don't know. I'm afraid I can't say yes right now.
Well, all right, just think about it. I thought it might be important. I had a feeling it was something that you shouldn't pass up.